Hi friends. I'm doing this a little bit earlier than I had planned on because I need to get into my freezer, and all the things that I packed are on top of my freezer. So I'm going to show you what I have done so far with vacuum packing. What I've been doing is every week when I go to the grocery store, I buy a little bit extra sugar or flour or rice or whatever. And I've purchased quite a lot of rice actually, because I've heard that there were a lot of problems with the rice harvests and that there's going to be a shortage and the prices are going to be going up. Now, I purchased a lot more white rice than I did brown rice. I prefer brown rice for its higher protein content and more vitamins, but it does not last as long because it has oils in it that will go rancid. So brown rice packaged will go for 3 to 5 years. White rice packaged can go up to 20. So I bought a lot more white rice than brown. So I will turn you around and let you see what I've done so far. Okay, these are 5 bags, 3 and 2, of Hungarian whole wheat. They are high altitude whole wheat plants and they have a higher protein content than normal. All right, white rice. We have 5, 10, 15, 16 and a half pounds of white rice. You need to make sure that you clearly label everything that you do with the date, how much it is, and what it is, okay? Now on to the brown rice. We have 11 pounds of brown rice here. I have 5 pounds so far of cornmeal, and I have 10 pounds so far of sugar. These are all vacuum packed and they all have, like you can see here, there are oxygen absorbers and moisture absorbers, 1 in each package to help keep everything fresh. Now, I am using old paint buckets because all of my food is in bags. I would not use these to put food directly in the bucket for storage, but because everything is vacuum packed, everything is in a bag, I have no problem with using paint buckets. And I just did my entire roof, with a waterproof paint because I live in Mexico and the ceilings are cement. So you have to coat them with what's called impermeabilizante. It's a very thick acrylic. And because cement is porous, so it keeps the rain from coming in. So I have 9 of these buckets and I am gradually filling them, okay? Now you need to make sure that you keep a good list of everything that is inside each bucket. I haven't done this yet. I need to put down the date at the bottom of it so that we also know how old the bucket is, so that when we rotate our stock, we know what we have to use first. But for example, this has 3 1-pound bags of pinto beans, 1 1-pound bag of pinto bean seed, 1 1-pound bag of Flor de Mayo seed. See, I kept a bunch of them for seed and some of them are for food. I also have oatmeal in here, lentils for seed. These are organic. Oatmeal, white rice, and brown rice. Okay. Here's the list for another bucket. Now, something I would like to mention. Lots of foods come from the store with insects or insect eggs inside of them. So all of these things, my flours, my rice, I don't do it with the sugar, but anything that would get grain weevils, for example, I put in my deep freeze for 72 hours before I package them, vacuum packed, and put them in the buckets. And that way, if there is anything inside of them, it kills whatever is in there so that it doesn't spoil my stock. And I put things in 1 pound bags because if you're looking at the possibility of your electricity going down, or there are so many different things that could go wrong these days, that I try to package them in sizes that I think I would use quickly enough to where they definitely would not go bad. And if there is some bug activity in something, it will only ruin 1 pound, not anything else. So as you can tell, this one is mostly white rice. I got a little bit of brown rice in there. The Hungarian whole wheat is a very high altitude. Oh, I think I said this before when I was showing you the bags, but sorry. Very high altitude wheat and supposedly has a higher protein content. Okay, thanks. By the way, whole wheat flour will not store as long as all-purpose flour or regular white flour for the same reason as brown rice will not last as long as white rice. There are oils in it that will go rancid sooner. So your whole wheat products you need to use within 3 to 5 years, or the taste goes off kind of because of the rancidity of the oils inside of it. Okay, so in closing on the food storage, I have a pantry. I don't know if you want to call it a prepper pantry, a survival pantry, just a pantry, whatever. But I think that there are very many things in our world today that could be an issue. Climate change is going on. There's always earthquakes. There's always hurricanes. There's always, tornadoes and all kinds of things. Where I live, they're both cannot say hurricane and earthquakes at the same time. There are both earthquakes and hurricanes. I do live in another country, in Mexico, and my income is basically Social Security. So there are also difficulties sometimes with holidays not coinciding. It'll be an American holiday or it'll be a Mexican holiday and I won't get my money when I'm supposed to, or whatever. There are also questions in people's minds these days about the possibility of civil unrest. There's always the possibility of war and things like that any place in the world. Unfortunately, we humans are a violent sort. And you never know if you're going to get sick, if your supply chain is going to be disrupted, or what the situation could be. I do not do this from a position of fear. I do this from a position of being prepared. There is a Bible phrase that I love. It is Psalm 27:14. It says, "Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord." Now, in English, wait is a passive verb. But when that was written in Psalms, it was written in Hebrew. And in Hebrew, wait is not a passive verb. It's an action verb. And a lot of people that study scripture only study it in the language that they know, and they misunderstand a lot of times. For example, this wait does not mean tell God what you need and sit on your butt and wait for it. Okay, that's not what it means, right? It means wait as a guardsman on watch, prepared, armed, ready for anything that would come your way. And I believe that it is our responsibility to do what we can. And so when I can, I set a little bit aside. Like I said, every week when I do my grocery shopping, I'll pick up an extra bag or two of beans, or an extra bag or two of lentils, or an extra bag or two of sugar, or whatever the case may be. And I set those up and I set them aside. So that if it could even be an emergency of a friend of mine. There was a friend whose husband died very suddenly and very early and left the family without. And I was able to go into my pantry and give them some food so that their children did not go hungry while they reorganized their lives to accommodate their loss. It could be that you're helping your neighbors. It could be that you're helping yourself. It could be that, all hell breaks loose. Who knows? Right? But the way I look at it, since prices keep advancing, they always have. I mean, when I was a teenager, I used to be able to put gas in my mother's car with change in my pocket, and that doesn't work anymore. I could not replace that gasoline now. And the farther along you go, the more things cost. It's just a fact of life. So anything that you are buying today and setting aside for tomorrow is saving you money. It's giving you peace of mind. It's letting you know that you have a secure savings to help you provide for yourself and your family. As long as you do it with wisdom and you use the oxygen absorbers and you use the moisture absorbers and you put them in a cool, dark place. Like I showed you, I was using those paint buckets. The Mylar bags are much more expensive than plain plastic bags for use with the vacuum sealers. So I found by putting them in the paint buckets, I'm keeping them out of the sunlight like the Mylar does, but without having to buy the expensive Mylar bags. And if I were to store, for example, bulk oatmeal where I want to fill up a 5-gallon bucket with it, then I would get food grade buckets. But what I'm doing now, I don't need food grade buckets yet. So I am filling those 9 paint buckets that I have, and I'm working with what I have. And I've told you in a couple other videos, I believe, that each November, I get a little bit extra on my pension check. And so generally each November, I buy myself a tool of some sort for my home or for my garden or whatever. And this November, it will be a new food dehydrator and the accessories that I need for it. Last year, it was a food processor because unfortunately the one I had was broken by an employee, and also the vacuum sealer. I also tend in November to get a few canned goods, things that would be difficult for me to grow here or for me to find here, and I set them up. Now, I really enjoy the peace of mind that doing this gives me. I know that as long as there's no waste, which by freezing the grains the way that I do before I store them, I'm making sure that there aren't any grain weevils in them or grain weevil eggs in them. And by putting them in the Mylar bags, the plastic bags, with the oxygen eaters and the moisture absorbers, that the things that I am vacuum packing will be good for 20 or 25 years. So I really don't see a downside to it. It does take a little bit of room, but really not that much. My buckets, for example, are underneath my blouses and pants because there's a bunch of pretty much unused space there in your closet anyway. Everybody's got room under their bed. you can find different little places to squirrel things away in, you know. Not always. I know the last house that I was in was really, really tiny, and I could not find every space was used. There was already stuff squirreled away there, but I'm blessed where we are right now, to where I have a little more room, and I'm able to set some aside. So I will continue to can what I can. There is a what they call a yardita in Los Mochis, which is the closest big town, the one with Sam's Club and stuff like that in it, you know, where they sell fresh produce to restaurants and smaller stores. And I will be going there. I'm in the process of accumulating more jars at this time because I don't really have the resource of canning jars that I used to have. And every November, that's one of the things that I'm purchasing is more jars. And I will be going to the Yardita and I will be buying like a 25-pound sack of carrots, and then I will set up all carrots. And you know, the next time I might buy a 25-pound sack of onions, and then I will caramelize like a lot of onions, whatever. When you are doing this, make sure that you only store things that you actually eat. It's not going to do you any good or your family any good to store things that you just think they should eat or should want. You need to actually store what you actually use. And I hope that you do. It really does give you a peace of mind and a sense of security. And come what may, you know, you can bail yourself out of a bad situation. And if you don't need to, and 3 or 4 years have gone by and you haven't had any emergencies, well then you always need to follow FIFO. First in, first out. Use the things that are in the front. Always put your new stock in the back. And use whatever is oldest first, whether it's canned goods, whether it's your grains, whether it's sugar, whether it's baking powder or baking soda or maple syrup or whatever it is. Use whatever is oldest first and then replace it and put the new stuff in the back. And what I want to do, because shopping in bulk is much less expensive overall. So my plan is to get the pantry and get it stocked first to what I feel is a good supply. And then I will continue to buy in bulk and I will use whatever is in the front of that pantry. And I will keep rotating my stock so that it is just like my own little grocery store that's at home. I live 45 minutes away from the closest grocery store, so it's extremely inconvenient to have to bop to the store for something anyway. So it's a lot more reasonable for me to buy in quantity and have what I need stocked on hand. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know if you have some kind of a pantry or if you need ideas on how to store things, or do you need to know what to store? Do you need to know, you know, what are the most usable items? And when you're in the comments, let me know where you're from. That would be wonderful. I've said before on a couple of my other videos, I have an empty wall over here. And I'm going to put a big corkboard on it. I have a world map on order. And whenever anybody puts in the comments where they're from, I plan on putting a little push pin there. And as long as I can, as long as it's not too many names, I'm going to put the person's name or, you know, their handle with the push pin on the map, and I will occasionally put a little footage of that in there, and maybe you'll see your name up there. That'd be fun. I'm a little bit of a nerd, and I think that would be just awesome. I want to tell you, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for choosing to spend part of your day with me. That is a wonderful resource to me. It makes me really feel good, and I hope that I can make you feel a little bit like a part of my family. I had 7 children total, between stepsons, mine, and ours, because I was married once first, and so was my husband, and then we had 43 years together. So I had 1 from a previous, he had 2 from a previous, and we had 4 together. Plus, I had 7 foster children, and so far I've had 10 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild. So I have been cooking and canning and gardening and doing all these things my entire life. Also, for 10 years in the middle of my marriage, I was a single parent. I never received any welfare or food stamps or anything like that. And I learned how to live on a shoestring. I grew a lot of our food. I had chickens. I made most of what we needed. I made our own bread every day. I made our own peanut butter. I made our own mayonnaise. I made our own yogurt. I sewed a bunch of my children's clothes. And I just gradually taught myself how to do everything kind of one thing at a time. So if I can help you learn any of those skills, let me know in the comments what it is that you would like to learn or know how to do, and I'll try to get a tutorial out there to you to help you do it. Thank you for being here. And if you like what you see, I'd love a thumbs up. That always makes my day. And a subscription will help us tremendously. We will put out a video every Saturday and a short at least on every Wednesday. We may well do more than that. If I'm feeling good and energetic and I'm getting stuff done, I'd like to put out more than that. I just know I can commit to that much at least. So I'm really glad you're here, and you're the reason why I'm here. And I hope to see you again soon. Toodles.